Hey, welcome to the Megan Waldrop podcast. I'm your host, Megan. And if you're new here, welcome. Bring on a seat up at our table. We're so happy to have you. And if you've been here before, I so cherish our time together because we get to talk about all kinds of different things that affect our lives in the best way that we want to do, what we can do to improve ourselves, because there's no shame in wanting to become a better person. The self help section, I feel like gets such a bad rap. People are like, I don't want to get caught dead in the self help aisle. And I'm like, I want to live there. I want to better myself all the time. And so that's what we do here. We're just talking about different concepts, topics, beliefs, whatever. Take what you want, leave what you don't like. And yeah, it's just to have a nice conversation to make us feel more grounded and more really in touch with ourselves and how we can move throughout the day feeling more confident and actually enjoying our life moment by moment, just remembering, wow, this is such an incredible gift, how precious and beautiful this life can be. The challenges, the joys, the little moments are what makes our lives beautiful and worth living, even though they might seem super minute at the time, but it is special. And I'm realizing that minute and minute, are they spelled the same? Anyway, okay, I digress. Today I wanted to talk about this term that I've heard tossed around a lot, and maybe you've heard it too, but recently the word detachment relationship. And I love this concept, and I feel that I have done a pretty good job of doing this on a different level when it comes to being an independent woman, but the actual definition of it goes so much deeper than that, and I wanted to share this with you. So, the definition of a detachment in a relationship is the practice of creating healthy emotional and physical space to protect your well being without abandoning love or care. It involves letting go of the need to control, fix, or enable a partner, allowing you to stay calm and set boundaries rather than becoming consumed by their chaos, emotions, or behaviors. Okay, what a difference between being independent and being detached, and not detached in a way that you're, like it said, like there's still love there, but it's in a way to respect them and for them to have their own world, their own reality going on where it doesn't affect you. Because for so long I have been a fixer, people pleaser, and I've always want to make things, everything, I want everything to be okay. I just want everybody to be happy. And that's exhausting. And that's also super egotistical and disrespectful of other people going through whatever they need to go through to process their emotions. So, on the independence part, I feel like I got that on lock. Many of you know, and you might still be a part of that amazing community. But my husband was a commercial fisherman for all 10 years of our relationship until recently. And there was a lot of long distance there. He would go to Alaska for months at a time and fish. He would go day fishing out in California in the Channel Islands, and I would see him all day. And then we also bought a house in North Carolina, and then he would fish in California still. And so I wouldn't see him for months at a time. And so I felt like I really had my routines down. I loved to embrace my alone time. I loved having my own space. I mean, list goes on and on. Of course, I missed him, but there was something about having this precious time to myself that was just such a gift and still is. And I still honor that as much as I can. That's for sure. And I also honor our togetherness. And so when we I want to say got back together, but whenever we got together in the same home full time, when he retired from fishing, there was an adjustment. And at first, I thought it was going to be a rough adjustment for me because I was so used to having the house to myself. And I'm very particular, I will say. I'm working on it. And, honestly, I really enjoyed him being home. It was so nice to have him the mornings, at night, and then just throughout the day. He'd do his projects and he'd go surfing and wing foiling and every water sport that he loves to do. And I would still have my routine. And then we'd get to spend time with my family together. And that was just really loving and nurturing. And eventually, several months go by. I would say like 6 to 7, 8 months. And I thought, okay, things are going well. There's some things that we want to work on in our relationship. So let's go to a marriage therapist, or what do you call it? Relationship therapist, counselor, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. We went and did an online therapy through, what is it called? Regain. And they're similar to BetterHelp. So we just tried that out just to see what's up. And we brought some things to the table. And one of them for me was, how do I stay neutral when my sweet husband is going through an emotional, whatever he's going through, whenever he's in a mood? How do I keep that, my side of the street, clean and not get involved with it? Because, like I said, I'm a fixer. I wanted to make sure that everything's okay with people. And I noticed that whenever he was in a mood, like every human is, like I do too. I'm just giving you him, I'm giving him it as an example. I have moods too. Hello, we're all human. But I noticed that I would try to dig in and want to talk about things, and like it almost made it worse, and it's the difference between having something in our relationship that we wanted to work on and then having time to actually communicate that to each other. Completely different. I'm talking about someone who, in a moment, like they're not feeling great and they're feeling kind of like, I'm kind of pissed for I don't know what reasons that I've made up in my head. And that's their thing. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, we have a relationship issue that needs to be discussed. Like, yes, communicate ad nauseum for that. But I realized that I was trying to even, I don't know why this word's coming up for me, but not police his feelings, but try to get him back down to ground zero, when really that is none of my friggin' business. If he is feeling a certain way, he can feel a certain way, and I don't have to get involved. Now, if you're an empath, lots of us are. I feel like everybody's an empath. It just depends on what degree you identify it with, or also lean into those feelings. But empathic, that means that you're able to feel other people's emotions, energy, things like this. And energy is a real thing. It's not just woo woo spiritual, it's actual neuroscience of people's energy fields. Your energy fields I think they say that they can get up to 6 to 9 feet outside of your orb, and you can feel the heart space energy up to 3 feet, which is pretty cool. But when someone enters a room and you're like, whoa, either it's not great, or someone enters the room and you're like, dang, look at them, just like brightening up this place. Like that is the real energy of it all. And if you're living with somebody and you're intimately involved with someone, whenever their energy shifts, you feel it. Even if they're like, no, I'm fine. You're like, no, bro, I can tell you're not fine. Maybe you don't want to talk about it, and that's fine, but identify that you're not feeling great, right? So I asked our therapist, I said, so whenever this happens, how do I not get involved? And I'm going to read you the notes that I wrote down on these little yellow pieces of paper. She said to ask, what is in my control? So if you have a partner or a family member or something that is going through something, if they're in a mood, you ask, what is in my control? And the only thing in our control are our feelings. And our feelings are only our business to navigate. We're not there to help anybody else navigate their feelings unless they ask you for help. But if they don't, like, stay out of it. These are all hard lessons that I've had to learn. Okay. So for you, you might be like, yeah, duh. But for me, I want to share this in case other people find this helpful, because this kind of was like oh, yeah, I need to practice this. So what is in my control? In my urge to fix things, I'm not going to dig deep and to start asking, well, why are you feeling this way? Da-da-da-da. Instead, this is what she said to say. First, ask yourself, what is in my control? And then you can tell your partner, I'm here for you. And is there anything specific you need from me right now? And if they say no, you say, okay, I love you. I'm here for you. And then you go about your business. Now, that simple notion blew my friggin' mind. And next time it happened, I tried this and it freaking worked, y'all. But it wasn't easy for me. I was struggling at first, for real, because I feel those energy shifts, I feel those emotional shifts, and it latches on to my insides. And my brain starts to go, into almost like a fight or flight mode. And then I start to try to untangle and dissect of like, why this? Why is this happening? Could it be this? Blah, blah, blah. And then I have to reel myself back and be like, nope, this is not my thing. This is his thing. I love him and I respect him enough to allow him to have his feelings without having to try to fix it for him because it's not my part to fix. It took me a while though to get adjusted to this. It took me, I would say, I don't want to put a time on it because everybody's different, but it wasn't 5 minutes. Okay. It wasn't 30 minutes. Okay. It took me a while to finally feel okay and regulated enough to let him do what he needed to do. And it was interesting because I also, the next day or later that night, we hugged or whatever we didn't have to go into why, but we got back together. If things felt like there were more even for him emotionally, like he was able to process it. When I say we got back together, I mean like we hugged. Like at that point, we were connecting again. And the next day I asked him, I said, that was a really profound experience for me because my first gut instinct is to want to make everything better and to interject and to like tap dance and create a charcuterie board and make everything copacetic. I'm exaggerating, but that's how it feels like trying to make everything okay. And I said, and it really, for me, it was such a beautiful lesson because it was the first time I was able to really detach in our relationship in that way with him in the home and to make sure that my world and my reality was still intact because that wasn't my reality. I wasn't in that mood and that's okay. I wasn't going through those feelings and he needed to go through those feelings to process them for himself. And it's interesting because I recently heard that say people are portals. And so you want to be careful on who you interact with or how you go down, how deep you go into their portal. And it's so true because people are portals. They can pull you into their feelings and emotions. And next thing you know, you're like, what the hell happened? Like I was fine. And now I'm feeling angry or I'm pissed or I'm upset or whatever it is. But that was such a profound thing was ask myself, what's in my control? Okay, only my feelings are in my control. To tell my husband, I'm here for you. And is there anything specific you need from me right now? And so to go back to the next day, when I told him, like, wow, that was really hard and also freeing for me. I'm so glad. I said, well, how did that feel for you? Because usually I am jumping in. And he felt more supported. He said that it felt like it gave him the space that he needed to just be. And he felt, yeah, like it was me not doing anything was the most support I could give him at that moment. And he felt that and he needed that space. And I loved to hear that. I'm like, okay, this is amazing. Therapy is amazing. These simple reminders that we know. I mean, these are things that we know, but have to be reminded of because our brains are incredible machines. They go 1,000 miles an hour, but sometimes we need to be reminded of the simple things. How do I not get involved? And how do I have this detachment in our relationship to where it serves both of us in a way that's supportive? Yeah, it was an interesting experience. I would love to know if that ever helps you in the future, just to know like what is in my control? Is there anything I can do for you in this moment? I'm here for you. I mean, that's all you have to ask yourself. Yeah, it's the simplicity of being in a relationship, the attachment relationship. I've had a podcast before. I don't know if you heard it, but about how sleeping in separate beds have saved our relationship. So in that we have sleep detachment, mandatory cuddling before, so we get that intimacy, but we have the sleep detachment, the emotional detachment, though that was the uh that was the difficult one. And the emotional attachment within just being a human and having moods, because we all have them. That was really interesting. And for me, it feels that these are the tools that you need for me personally. I'll just speak for myself to have lasting relationships, to have relationships that feel that they're not draining, excuse me, to feel like not one person is carrying a heavier load than the other, to actually not only have a relationship, but an actual partnership. Because the relationships, there's so many facets to it. And to me, it feels that it's friendship, number one. There's the lust and love. That's when one man told me, he was a pediatric surgeon from India. And he said there's three factors to a relationship. It's friendship, lust, and love. And I loved that. But it is interesting. It's like the friendship part, the partnership part. Like I'm with you to take you to doctor's appointments and to build a home together or create a family together or whatever that is for you. And then there's the relationship part, like that nurturing of that romantic part of your partnership, friendship. And this detachment relationship feels like, oh yeah, like let's be our own people. There's that saying, what is it that I guess many years ago or however we heard it our whole lives about, find someone who completes you. You complete me. What is that? That's some funny movie that says that. Anyway, but it's like finding someone to complete you. And it's like, no, 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 that's not it at all. You are complete as you are. Find someone that compliments you, that actually makes you feel happy and excited. Maybe not happy all the time because it's a relationship and you're working out your triggers and past and whatever it is, but just someone that's going to add to your life, not complete your life because you're already whole. You already are complete as you are right now. You're as perfect as you are. But yeah, find someone who you're like, I could roll with you for the rest of my life or however long you want to have a relationship. I could be in this partnership for this long, or someone that you could just like literally partnership. It's like a business partnership sometimes. It's checking in, making sure everybody's doing okay. What's the return on this investment? Am I getting enough out of this relationship to feel balanced? Are you getting enough out of this relationship to feel balanced? What can we do to tweak and make this relationship work for us? Because the relationship that you had when you first got together is not going to be the same relationship that you have in 5 years, 10 years, many years down the line. And that makes sense because we're all growing and evolving in our own individual ways. And so, how can we grow and evolve separately, but also support each other together in that? I feel that this is a concept that we can continually talk about in many, many episodes. But I hope that you enjoyed this detachment relationship. I'm curious of what you think about this concept. Does it seem foreign to you? Does it seem like it would be helpful? You could email me at support@meganwaldrop.com. I'll leave my information in the show notes. But detachment relationship, it's such a curious concept and it makes so much sense to me. And maybe this is more of the modern thinking, but how do we live with somebody? If this is someone that you want to be with for the rest of your life, if that's the kind of relationship you want, some people don't want that. That's totally fine, obviously. But for us, it's sleeping in separate beds, mandatory cuddling, and this detachment relationship, which has really been such a game changer. And I hope that it has been helpful to learn, or maybe something that you can implement into your life if you feel like it might be helpful. So thanks for listening. I'll see y'all next week. If you see me on YouTube, I'm waving to you right now. And thanks for being here. Until next time.